Oh, hi, Dave.
Afternoon.
Uh, through the first few games of the playoffs here, a lot of these games are going into overtime, and there's a theory that it's because teams have played each other so often that they know each other so well. That's why the games are so close. Do you subscribe to that theory, or how do you feel going in having played the Jets 9 times?
I just think every team they've earned the right to be a playoff team, and they're really competitive. I mean, teams are close. You see great goaltending in them. You see, it's tight checking games, very physical games. You just got very competitive teams. I think you can say that they know each other well, which is a fact. But that being said, you see very very competitive games that are it's hard to score, and teams are defending well, and they tend to be close games.
Now, watching, I guess the other divisions take off early, I guess, and you guys kind of have to still wait around a little bit. How does that kind of fuel the playoff juices? Watching these some of
Well,
these teams going to first, second
you,
games already.
they're fun games to watch. I mean, I've said it forever that playoff hockey is one of the best sports you can watch on TV. So you're sitting home at night, and you know you're going to be involved in that in a couple of days, but it's there's lots of juice in those buildings, especially the buildings with fans. It just you don't realize how much you miss it till you see fans going crazy at a game, and it just adds to an extra atmosphere there.
Rob Tchaikovsky, Post Media.
Coach. Connor, Leon, and Darnell, they don't have a ton of playoff experience. I think it was 13 games 4 years ago, and the bubble was what it was. What do you see out of your core guys that leads you to believe that they're prepared for the challenge ahead?
Well, I just think the maturity, not just from playoff experience, and just from you continue to learn, you continue to adapt to the league, and so their experiences throughout the league, not just in the playoffs, actually bodes well for them. They're maturing as players. Their game is elite, but their maturity factor of leadership and what you have to be ready for getting into a playoff series. All those things have grown on them. So I'm excited to see what they can do this time around.
Guys like Neil, Chason, and Smith, there's added value in players like that at this time of year.
Very much so, yeah, very much so. They're hardened veterans. They've been through the wars before, and they're strong voices in that room.
Jason Gregor, TSN 1260.
Dave, when you prepare for a team in the playoffs where you know who you're going to play and you've had a little bit more time than in the usual end of regular season till now, in your past experience, do you change what your team does significantly when you're going up a team for 7 straight games?
No, no, I'm a big believer, and your team has a identity or style you want to play, and you have to play that well. If you're chasing different changes all the time, you never get good enough at one thing to be good at anything. So we have a way that we want to play, and you recognize there's certain situations when you're playing in the playoffs or playing a team over and over again. There's tweaks you make, whether it be special teams or some face-off stuff, but the main structure of how you play, you can't preempt that and just decide you're going to play a different way, in the playoffs. That to me that doesn't work. So you have a good foundation of how your team wants to play and the identity you want to play with. There's always some tweaks here and there in things that are, not basic structure, but tweaks, like I say, whether it be special teams and that. So it's you're better off do what you're good at, and do it well consistently, and see how it goes.
Today you had Cassian skating with Macleod and Neil. You only had 12 forwards out, so reading between the lines here, does Cassian look like he's ready? And what did you like about the makeup of that line? What do you like to hope to think they can bring?
Yeah, Cass really came a long way here in the last week. I didn't anticipate him being ready, but he went through a full practice yesterday, came in today raring to go. So he can be a valuable player. He's a big, hard player, good skill, speed. You watch these games on TV, how they're being played. He can be a real asset for us. So we with young Macleod there and Neil, Macleod's got a couple of good veterans on the side with some size. Macleod transports the puck very well. So we'll see. It's got the makings of a good line.
Jim Matheson, Post Media.
A couple of things, Dave. With Shore out and Hawes out, there are two penalty killers. Does that mean you're going to try to use Macleod as a penalty killer?
Yeah, Macleod's a good penalty killer.
And Cuckoo looks like he's going to be playing with Ethan Bear. Your rationale there, considering he's only had the one game in the last 2.5 months.
He was solid in the last game, and he's worked awful hard. His game is at a level where I think his experience and the weight he brings will help us.
Thank you.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman, The Athletic.
Hi, Dave. Just wanted to keep touching on Ryan Macleod. It sounds like he's going to play some pretty important roles for your team, and just with him only having 10 games of NHL experience, what do you think about that, and how do you think he's kind of ready for that challenge with being a pretty new player in this league?
He's a good player, smart player, does well in in a lot of different situations, and he hasn't looked out of place at all. So I know he's a young player, but he's a player that looks like he fits in well with our team.
His skating speaks for itself, and obviously you touched on the penalty killing. With him being on a kind of maybe a heavier line, would you like to see him be a little bit more physical, or you kind of have to play to his strengths?
No, he plays to his strengths. He's a good two-way player. He's a positional player. He's got those big guys to bang around on the side of him. He does a lot of the puck work for them. So he's a competitive player. He's not going to get out muscled, but he's a guy that reads situations well, checks well, reading off situations, anticipates well. So he's got those big guys beside him, but we expect him to play a real solid game in between them.
Ryan Rashog, TSN.
Dave, last year when you came into the bubble, the players were kind of experiencing playing in an empty building for the first time. And I know all the teams went through that. It's been a year now where they've been doing this. And as the temperature goes up in the playoffs and the intensity increases, are you confident that your team will meet that moment, emotionally, where maybe as last year there was lacking a little bit with the building empty?
Yeah, I think players are used to it now. You play we went 56 games in it and the bubble game, so players here are used to it. It's become second nature now, and you don't notice as much as earlier you did. So I don't think that's a factor whatsoever.
Your leadership group, what have you seen from them in this couple of days of practice and even the tail end of the season there, just in terms of the tone that they seem to be setting for the group? It's a strong, leadership core where some guys have had some pretty phenomenal years. What are you seeing from them?
I think they're being solid, methodical in their approach, and understand what's ahead of us, and have been preparing accordingly.
Gene Principe, Sportsnet.
Hi, Dave. Just wanted to ask you two quick questions. First off, just regarding pressure and just handling it, and what you're seeing from your team that allows you to feel and believe that when the going gets tough, they'll be fine and be able to kind of work their way through it.
There's an old saying, pressure is a privilege, and you earn that privilege by putting the work in to get yourself to those pressure situations. So embrace the pressure, understand what it is. You're put in pressure situations because you've accomplished something you want to continue to accomplish. So that's what we're embracing. Pressure is a privilege. Enjoy the privilege.
And for you as a coach, I know that lots of things in the world are different now, but is anything different regarding your planning, your preparation, just how you feel about your coaching staff heading into the opener of the series?
No, I feel like our preparation has been pretty good. Like I mentioned the other day, our preparation has been, you really prepare your team all year, but then we started really looking at, a few different things 2 or 3 weeks ago. So our preparation has been ongoing here, geared towards playoffs, and it's a little bit different this year. You played the team 9 times, so you know them very well. But our preparation has been really geared around our team, different roles of players, how we want to play, special teams. You try to touch everything as you go on, and we haven't crammed anything. We feel like we prepared as we went along here, and I think we're ready to go.